Hi everyone, Guyde here, and today I'm going to tell you the story about how I set a gay trap for a straight guy. Now, I am not proud of this story. This is not one of my shining moments, and when I first thought about telling the story to you guys, I thought, oh, well, maybe at least I can get a lesson out of it, and there's not really a lesson to be learned. But it's, there's a personal lesson that I learned, mistakes I made, but we'll see at the end. I will tell my story, and you guys let me know what you think. So this happened just a few weeks ago, actually, and it was at a circuit party in New York. If you're not familiar with circuit parties, well, circuit parties are basically a party with a name. The one I was at is Trade, and it's usually thrown by a friend of mine who throws great parties. The party's really fun. I love to support him. I have a group of friends that go all the time. So whenever I can, I try and make it to this party. It's a monthly party. So we're at this party, and these parties go all night long. And it's at a club, and there's lots of music and dancing and lights and go-go boys wearing barely anything. All the guys on the dance floor have their shirts off. It's hot, sweaty, and everyone's having a great time. And so I'm there with some friends, and we're hanging out, and we're having fun, and we're drinking, and we're standing there, and I turn, and I see this gorgeous man walking towards me, taking a straight line for me, looking at me, heading basically over to me. And as he gets closer, I look at him and I was like, what is going on with this guy? And he gets over to me and he goes, what? And I said, you are in a room that's 90 degrees, it's hot and sweaty, everyone has their shirt off, and you're wearing a wool sweater. I said, why are you wearing that wool sweater at this party? And he just goes, oh mate, I'm Australian, I never get warm. And I said, oh, Australians. I love Australians. I'm a big fan of the accent. They're good people, they're always fun, they always know how to have a good time. Side note, speaking about Australians, you guys should really check out this show called Please Like Me on Hulu. It's written by this guy Josh, and who is also the star of the show, and it's just this really, really well written comedy about this Australian gay guy and his friends and their life in their early 20s. It's amazing. Definitely check it out. So me and this guy start chatting, and we are hitting it off so well. It's just one of those times where you meet someone and you click right away. We're making quips at each other, we're making jokes. I start joking about how I'm gonna get his sweater off, and he offers to buy me a drink, and we're getting along really well. And we're talking for a good 5 minutes, and he sort of stops me and he goes, okay guy, I gotta tell you something. He goes, I'm straight. I said, oh, of course you are. Of course you are. Why are you here if you are a straight guy at this gay circuit party? And he goes, oh, I'm here with my friend Charlie. He's over in the corner, and he is super shy, and I saw you guys having a good time, and I wanted to see if you could help me get him out of his shell and try and help him have a good time. And I said, of course I will. This is exactly the kind of thing that happens to me all the time. Think about it, I'm on YouTube trying to talk about gay things to try and help new gays. Of course I'm gonna go help this shy gay guy get out of his shell at this party. So I go over and I talk to Charlie, who's also super cute and Australian, and we start chatting, and he is really shy, super shy. Like barely will not make eye contact. He's always looking at the floor. Sort of it's like trying to pull teeth to try and get answers out of him. But we start having a good time, and he loosens up a little bit. We have a few drinks, we dance a little bit. Eventually I start kissing him, and we make out a little bit. And basically everything about my interactions with this guy is telling me this could be his first time with a guy. There's a couple comments he made about kissing and dancing with a guy, like indicating this was his first time doing it. And basically everything was screaming new gay. It hasn't really had any experience, that sort of thing. So I'm trying to be sensitive to it. I'm taking things at his pace, letting him know it's okay. We don't have to do anything he doesn't want to, that sort of thing. But we're having a good time. We're dancing. We're making out a little bit. His friend is still there, and his friend keeps coming and going. He keeps going and getting drinks and talking to other people, his friend is getting drunker and drunker as the night goes on. So cut to about 3 a.m. Me and Charlie are on the dance floor. We're dancing a bit, and Charlie says, let's go back to my Airbnb. I said, okay, I'm game. Let's go find your friend and let's get out of here. And he said, no, he's fine. He's fine. He knows where it is. He'll find us. He can get a cab. And I said, well, that's silly. I mean, he's at this party. Why wouldn't he just come with us? Let's go find him. And he goes, no, let's just go. Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. So he just really wanted to leave. I said, okay, all right, let me get my coat. So we got my coat, and we left. And I felt kind of bad leaving his straight friend at this gay circuit party, but he insisted that he was going to be okay. So we get a cab, we go back to his Airbnb, and we get there and we go to his bedroom and start hooking up a bit. And again, I'm very sensitive that this may be his first time, so I'm taking it very slowly at his pace. But we're having a good time. So another quick side note: Charlie. Very large penis and really fun to play with, but you can't really do much with something that large. It was the third biggest I've ever seen. I know you guys are already talking about penis size and stuff in our comments. We'll get to it. We'll talk about why it matters and what you can do about it, that sort of thing. So we'll get to that in a later topic. So in the middle of hooking up, his phone starts ringing, and it is his straight friend. So he says, okay, I gotta get this, okay. So he answers it, he goes, oh yeah, we're home. Yeah, we left. Okay, yeah, just get in a cab. Yeah, Okay, yeah, by the way, when you get here, we're in your room. I said, what? And I hear his friend say, well, you're in my room, well, what am I supposed to do when I get there? And Charlie says, well, let's just cross that bridge when we get to it. And then hangs up the phone. And suddenly I'm looking at him, I'm like, what is going on here? Why are we in his room? Why don't we go to your room? And he goes, I'm pretty sure that if he catches us, he'll want to join us. And I'm like, oh God, you are setting a trap. You are setting a trap for your straight friend because you think he might be gay or have gay tendencies, and he's trying to trap him into hooking up. And this is the moment where I wish I'd done something different, where I wish I said, that's not a good idea, you should talk to him about it, like this is not the right way to go about this sort of thing. But then again, I had a few drinks in me, and I was hitting it off with this straight guy all night long and flirting with him hardcore, and it was just a bad decision. So I agreed. I said, okay, all right, let's do it. So we continue hooking up and we're having some fun, and I'm showing him the ropes of some certain things that I like to do. And, about 20 minutes later, we hear his friend coming. And so he comes to the bedroom door and stands in the doorway. And he goes, so you guys are doing it in here in my bed, huh? And Charlie goes, yep, you want to join us? And I go, yeah, why don't you join us? And he the straight guy stands there and he looks and he goes, you gotta remember who I am. You gotta remember who I am. You have to remember who I am. You gotta remember who I am. And he's getting really angry, and he just sort of turns around and storms off. I'm like, oh, that did not go well. That was not the response that we expected out of this guy. And I turned to Charlie, and he's got tears running down his face. And I said, shit, you're in love with him, aren't you? And he goes, yeah, for a long time now. I said, oh God, that's the worst. And as you guys know, I was also in love with my straight best friend. I talk about it in the video. I'll put a link up here for you. So I tell him my story about how I went through something very similar and how I would give my straight friend priority over gay boys and hookups and exactly what he was doing. He basically sacrificed his hookup with me on a chance that he might be able to hook up with his straight friend, and it did not work. It backfired. So, basically, I told him, I said, you've got to use this as a pivot point. You tried. You tried, it didn't work. This is probably your best shot. He and I were getting along really well. This was the one chance. If he was going to do it, it was going to be now, and it didn't happen. And you've got to accept that he's straight, that he's not, that those things that you're hinting are just not there, and they're not going to show up, and you've got to make a change. You've got to get over this. And he agreed. He said, I know. I've got to get over this. It needs to happen. And we talked for a little bit more about what he can do next and all that other stuff. And he asked me to stay. And so we weren't going to hook up after that. Mood was ruined. So we lie down, and he quickly fell asleep. But I could not fall asleep. I was tossing and turning. I felt terrible about getting in the middle of this. I feel like I was sort of part of a bomb exploded between these two, and I was part of it. I couldn't sleep, and it was getting later and later, and suddenly it was getting earlier in the day, and it was almost starting to get light out. And I said, okay, I gotta go home. I gotta get some sleep. I can't. I have stuff to do today. I can't, basically lay here all night and not be able to sleep. And funny thing about this digital age, Charlie and I did not exchange numbers during the night, and trying to sneak out while he's sleeping, I had no way to leave my number. There's no pen and paper lying around. It's an Airbnb, so it's someone else's house. I tried unlocking his phone. It had a passcode. I even tried using his finger while he was sleeping to unlock his phone so I could just put my number in it. That didn't work either. So basically, I had no way to get back in contact with him the next day, no way to find out what happened with his friend, if they talked, if his friend even remembers coming home. I don't know how drunk he was. So I basically was part of this bomb that exploded between these two, and then pieced out and have no idea what happened between the two of them. So, hopefully I did tell Charlie about my channel. So Charlie, if you're watching, shoot me an email at thegayguide@gmail.com. Let me know how it went. Let me know what's going on with you two. And I'd really like to talk. You were actually really awesome, and we had a good time. But that's my story. So what do you guys think? Has anything like this ever happened to you? Were you ever part of a trap? Have you ever thought about setting a trap? Because trust me, it's not a good idea. It's not the right way to go about these sorts of things. I try not to regret things I do, but I definitely wish that I had done this a little differently. So let me know. Let's keep this conversation going down in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel to stay up to date with some upcoming topics. And if you have any other questions for me, you can leave them in my comment sections below, or send me an email to thegayguide@gmail.com. And in the meantime, get out there and be who you needed growing up.